This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at extractioneering.com, makers of the finest legal cannabis concentrates and extracts around. Using boatloads of science and heaps of crafty precision, Extractioneering delivers a product with all of the good stuff and none of the bad. Swing over to extractioneering.com to see for yourself. That's extractioneering.com, which is spelled like engineering but with the word extraction. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, September 25th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 337 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Cannifornian has a great piece up looking at how the state of California is dealing with the tricky issue of keeping pesticides and other harmful contaminants out of their soon-to-launch adult-use marijuana industry. This is one of legal marijuana's biggest issues, and as the Cannifornian piece lays out, it's a complicated one, as cannabis cultivators, both in California and elsewhere, will face a huge illicit financial incentive to keep using pesticides while growing marijuana due to the higher costs associated with organic farming practices. The fears are that cannabis that would fail the state's new strict testing regimes will find their way to illicit and out-of-state markets. This is a great one to open up and read, as pretty much every person in the industry needs to have at least a working understanding of the particulars of this challenge. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. A county sheriff in Washington state met with U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions last week and is reporting that he didn't get the sense that the nation's top cop was planning any kind of crackdown on state legal marijuana, at least anytime soon. At the meeting held last Tuesday with a number of sheriffs from around the state, Cowlitz County Sheriff Mark Nelson said that the Attorney General made it clear that he was not in favor of progressive marijuana policy, but that he seemed to be speaking, quote, more philosophically, unquote. This fits with the picture of an Attorney General set on cracking down on cannabis, but lacking the political capital to do so. Our final top story of the day brings us up to my neck of the woods here in Maine, where the Portland Press Herald is reporting that proposed legislation to allow for public social use clubs to open up by June of 2019 would not allow for the smoking or vaping of cannabis and would only permit customers to eat edibles or tinctures. As the bill is written, smoking and vaping aren't expressly forbidden, but neither are social clubs given an exemption under Maine's anti-indoor smoking laws, which would have the same effect as an explicit ban. Lawmakers expressed hesitation at being the first to open up social lounges and said that the smoking ban was a nice check on moving too quickly. A public hearing on the bill is being held at 9 a.m. tomorrow in Augusta, so if you have any feelings one way or another on the matter or any other cannabis topic under legislative consideration, I'd make sure you get to the State House tomorrow at 9 a.m. to be heard. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Extractioneering, makers of the finest legal cannabis concentrates you'll find anywhere. Led by a PhD biochemist with decades of experience cultivating and concentrating marijuana, Extractioneering takes their work very seriously and is ever striving to produce better products with all of the good stuff you want and none of the bad. When it comes to marijuana concentrates and extracts, you really don't want to spend money with anyone who doesn't understand the process all the way down to the chemical level. And not only that, you want your extractions to come from people who know what's going on at that chemical level well enough to teach it to a bunch of ambitious undergrad chemistry majors. You get all that and more when you choose Extractioneering products. Learn more about their work and see for yourself just how amazing the end results look by opening up extractioneering.com, which is spelled like engineering but with the word extraction. Once again, that's extractioneering.com. All right, time for the blitz. Following up on our top headline, we have a story in New Cannabis Ventures on a study published at the end of last week by cannabis testing company Steep Hill, finding that 86% of tested marijuana clones were contaminated by pesticides, with myclobutanil, a potentially harmful pesticide that's been deemed safe on eaten crops but not on anything smoked or otherwise heated, leading the way in terms of frequency of contamination. This is another excellent story to read in full. As the Canadian province of Ontario works to announce their plans to monopolize their legal marijuana industry through government-run dispensaries, there is a sliver of hope that independent cannabis social lounges will be allowed. The newly announced legislative framework leaves the door open to eventual lounges, though Marijuana Business Daily is reporting that it's not likely to happen by next summer's adult use legalization rollout. We'll keep tracking this one if and as it evolves. The Las Vegas Review-Journal is reporting that the state of Nevada has suspended, for the first time, the license of a legal marijuana testing lab, with G3 Labs LLC being told at the end of last month that they had to cease operations until coming back into compliance. The state isn't providing any information on what triggered the suspension, so we'll report back later as more details become available. Alan Brockstein over at New Cannabis Ventures picked up his second headline of the day with a story about millions of dollars in personal stock sales being made by highly placed executives and co-founders in Canadian licensed medical marijuana company Aphria. As Alan is reporting, Aphria co-founders Cole Cacavilliani and John Cervini have together sold more than $7 million of their Aphria stock this month. While there's nothing illegal about the sales, it's not usually a great sign when company executives sell off large lots of stock. Louisiana's Southern University just announced that it has chosen the company Advanced Biomedics LLC, based out of Lafayette, Louisiana, to handle the marijuana cultivation side of their medical marijuana program, which will provide medical cannabis to in-state patients in the forms of topicals, oils, and pills. The state's medical marijuana laws stipulate that only Southern University and Louisiana State University are allowed to grow and process medical cannabis, with LSU already having announced their pick of Nevada-based GB Science to handle their grow operations. The state of South Carolina is having trouble filling all of its job openings, in part thanks to too many qualified workers failing pre-employment drug testing. The Post and Courier have a good story up looking at the challenges local companies are having in filling job vacancies, with a low unemployment rate combining with an increased rate of failed drug tests. This is another one of our industry's big issues, so I'd suggest diving into the story for all the details. And finally for today, Cannabis Business Executive published their most recent list of the top 150 legal marijuana ancillary businesses and found that Colorado companies are in full domination mode, taking 41 of the 150 spots, edging out much larger California, who only had 35 companies listed. Washington and Oregon came in distant third and fourth place with a combined total of 22. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJTodayDaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Extractioneering, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.